tuning into All in the Bag.
What up, y'all? It is your boy Mayan. Welcome to a mini episode of All in the Bag podcast. Yeah, I just wanted to hop on here real quick and have a mini episode and talk with you guys. It's been a while. How have you been doing? Miss you. It's been a minute. It's shitty, man. I miss doing the podcast. But life has taken a bit of a turn for me. And I just wanted to have a conversation with you guys. Just kind of, elephant in the room, right? Like, why isn't there any episodes coming out? What's going on? Is the podcast over? I've had actually a few people ask me that. It's not over. I'll never quit this podcast. I love this podcast so much. I love connecting with all you guys. I love this thing, man. I really, really when I started this, it was just like, hey, let's get some mics and talk shit, and if you guys listen to the podcast, like, truthfully, you guys know all I do is talk shit. Like, it hasn't changed, but the caliber of people that have gone on here have become better and better and better. And these episodes are like more and more epic. For me being Mayan, cause I'm not special. I'm not like, I won't go down in history as like a legendary writer, and I'm okay with that. I don't do graffiti for that. I do graffiti for me. I love graffiti. I love painting. It is truly one of the biggest escapes for me. It's something that I just need in my life, and I love it. And if you see my shit, then fuck yeah. That's cool too, obviously. I mean, part of graffiti is, right, getting that acknowledgement. But that's not what this is about, right? This podcast is to create a platform to document. I've kind of shifted in a way. I grew up doing photography, and I, obviously have documented graffiti for over a decade, and this is just an evolution of that, and it's grown where I've been able to create, a cool podcast where I've been able to interview some fucking cool people, and there's been no episodes lately, and that's bummy. And you guys let me know, because every day is a DM of like, when's the next one? Who's next? And it's been a few months now, and I'm starting to feel that pressure. And so I was like, you know what? Let me fire up the mic and just sit down and have a conversation with you. To give you guys just a little, I've always been pretty transparent about stuff in my life. I'm not one to, I'm not weird about like trying to be mysterious. I'll let you know, like, shit's hit the fan in my life, in a couple of ways. And out of that shit, beautiful doors have opened, and I'm busy, and it's a good thing. There's positive things that are going on in my life. I'm very happy, a little bit stressed out and under pressure, and, overworked and a little sleep deprived. But overall, there's been a lot of good things that happened in my life. To just give you a slight preface of how we got here. I started a company, was it 2021? Sold said company to these guys that I thought were friends. They didn't do the effort that I thought we were going to do to grow the company, and I left. They decided to sue me. A bunch of bullshit claims that were not true. They really tried to fuck me over, and it was a really depressing 2 years of my life, because I couldn't print, I couldn't design. Keep in mind, I'm a poor kid. I have no money. I can't afford a lawyer. So it was me by myself against their lawyer. And it was a hard 2 years. And in the middle of that, right, just like any other creative, I think if you're someone that likes to genuinely create or need art in your life, or a form of art, if you can't do it in one medium, you try to do it in others, right? Like, it's something that just is in you as who you are. And so that's definitely me. So I couldn't, I was definitely painting graffiti, but like I genuinely love graphic design. I've been doing it for, over 10 years. But not being able to print and create things for others, which is I get genuine enjoyment from, was hard. And I was scared that if I did just fire up another company that they would use that as, evidence against me and try to like, dude, I don't talk to fucking judges. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a scumbag from the Mission that fucking moved to the peninsula, the 6 Filthy, when it was really fucked up. Like, dude, like, we're dirt bags. We're fucking graph writers, bro. Like, fucking talking to a judge. You got me fucked up. So I didn't, I don't have experience with fucking, being in court, other than like, fucking speeding tickets, but that's whatever. So it was a very scary point in my life. And so I didn't want to start another printing company because I was like, well, fuck, dude. Like, what if they use that against me? I don't know. And so I started building motorcycles. You guys heard me talk about motorcycles on the podcast before. I got into motorcycles. I've always been into like JDMs. I had an AE86. I had a Miata MX-5, the first one with the pop-up lights, NAs. I've had, I got a Forester SF5, fucking, whatever. The list goes on. I've had a lot of cool cars. Anyways, I got into motorcycles. And then I got really into motorcycles because this is something that I didn't experience before because I never rode motorcycles prior to like, the last 5 years. But motorcycling in a way is kind of like graffiti in the aspect of if you have ADHD. And if I can elaborate on that for just a quick second, I don't want to go too deep into everything. I just want to tell you guys, I'm sorry, a podcast episode is going to be coming, but I just want to give you guys some background to how I got to where episodes are not coming out. But motorcycling for me, with someone that actually, and I joke around about touch of the tism, ADHD, all that, but it's someone coming from dark humor that likes to spin light into things that are real. Object permanence, forgetfulness, short attention span, like that's all very serious. And I'm not trying to get like really dark right now, but it's just a reality, with someone that actually has like fucking, a fucked up ass head, like it just, there's not a lot. When you get hyperfixation, you hold on to it. And graffiti for ADHD is mind blowing, so like I hear all the time from people with like, attention issues that are like, oh, I don't have the attention span to piece. Nah, dude. It's the opposite. See, well, if you're like me and you're hyper wound up all the time and your brain is constantly cranking out information, it's exhausting. Dude, it is fucking exhausting thinking 24/7, bro. Like, and when I smoked weed, it was the only time that I could turn my brain off. And so graffiti for me, when I get hyper fixated on a piece, is like, okay, here's the space. Do my sketch. Okay, like there's a little bit of, the wall is offset like this, so I want to counterbalance my arrows and maybe swing them this way. I want to do some bits and doodads so that I can cancel out the negative space in between the letters. I want to fucking move an extension over here and do a fucking, I call them tubas, or saxophones. Sometimes when you see like not where an arrow is supposed to come out, but it goes up to like a half chunk and it's cut off. Kind of looks like a saxophone, like a tuba. If you guys are interested in what I'm talking about, you can DM me and I'll send you a picture of exactly what I'm trying to describe. But I think about, okay, I got to fade these colors. Should I do bubbles and stars inside of the fade? Should I keep it a clean fade? Let me do my outline. Let me do a sprinkle of the 3D. Let me do some fucking lasers and fucking lightning, So all that over the course of 4 hours when I'm piecing is a mind cleanser for me. And it genuinely helps me literally, as I tell people, the truest form of living in the moment for me is when I'm piecing. I'm not thinking about bills. I'm not thinking about projects. I'm not thinking about what I should be doing when I get home. I got to do groceries. I got to pay this, I'm stressed out with that. I got to make sure this credit card's I don't think of none of that. In this moment, I'm not thinking about my fucking attention issues. I'm not thinking about my relationships. I'm just thinking about piecing. I'm thinking about the way this fucking cream cap is whistling. I'm listening to a creek behind me with nature sounds. I'm listening to my homie laugh because he's telling me a great conversation because we're talking in between. I mean, and I'm kind of romanticizing graffiti right now, but like, it's just very real for me, like when I'm doing that in that moment, I'm living. I'm living truthfully in the moment. And if you're into like Buddhism, Buddhism is a lot about like living in the moment and really thinking and truly being in time, not thinking about past or future, but truly being in the present. And Buddhism is really cool in some ways. And so graffiti for that is for me. Now, that type of thinking is translated to motorcycles. With motorcycles, it's dangerous, dude. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're in a car, you're in a cage. You got safety sensors. You got fucking, you're strapped to it. So you got your fucking seatbelt. You got, your airbag. You're all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can survive a crash if it's not super severe, right? A motorcycle, dude, you have the tiniest little crash and you're fucking broken. So even though it's a little bit more dangerous physically, in that moment, because it's dangerous and I'm riding, I'm not thinking about nothing. I'm thinking about the road. I'm looking 10 feet in front of me. I'm listening to the hum of the engine. I ride a chopper, so like I'm feeling every little nook and cranny. I'm looking for potholes so it doesn't fucking smack me in my ass. I'm throttling, clutching. I like to listen to EDM, so I have EDM in my helmet. In that moment, I'm living. I'm truly in the present. I'm just enjoying the ride. And that's why they call it throttle therapy. If you're into motorcycles, I'm sure you've heard that term. So anyways, I know this is a super long-winded fucking thing, and I'm sorry. Once again, ADHD. I'm going on a tangent. But so I'm getting sued for 2 years. In the middle of that, I got into motorcycles. I started building them. I started painting them. I started welding, and not me personally welding, but like welding with my homies and like being like, hey, can you weld this fucking, hardtail kit? I got a jockey shift on an old chopper. If you know anything about jockey shifts, it's like a psycho way of riding a bike. And I ended up getting interviewed by a pretty famous YouTuber, and he seen me at a show and he was like, dude, your bike's looking really good. I'd love to have you on my channel. And I'm like, yeah, I've looked up to this guy ever since I got into motorcycles and came across his channel. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. So I pull up to his house. He interviews me. He has no idea that I have this podcast. Not at all. I mean, it's not like I talk to fucking people about graffiti all the time, like I'm pretty reserved about shit like that. And so anyways, once again, he has no idea I have this podcast. I have experience talking to people and interviewing and having a conversation and being able to how to carry it and roll and catch social cues, blah, blah, blah. So we have lunch after the interview, and he sits down with me and he goes, man, I've interviewed a lot of motorcycle riders and builders, and you've been probably one of the easiest. You can talk, dude. You got like a gift to gab. He's like, have you thought about doing YouTube? And I was like, like I have a YouTube channel for my motorcycle, but like, like I've done like 2 videos, like it's not like something I'm trying to do. And he's like, I don't know, man. I think you should do it. I think it would be very lucrative for you. I think you would do really well and you would grow. And I was like, you really think so? And he's like, nah, man, like I got a thing for these things. I really think you should try. He's like, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a lot of hard work. It's going to take you like a year or 2, to get to a YouTube partnership program when you're getting paid for ad revenue and this and that. But if you do the work now, you're going to pay for it in the end, And I was just like, oh, okay. And keep in mind, it's the beginning of this lawsuit. So I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have a creative outlet other than graffiti, which is great, but for someone who has ADHD, like I can't do graffiti fucking, 5 days a week, but I could do graffiti on the weekends and I can do video editing and recording whenever the fuck I want. All right, cool. Like that's the move. So I spent the last 2 years growing my YouTube. Just doing writing videos and, and keep in mind that I'm like a toy at filmmaking, a toy at YouTube. So, at first my videos were like terrible and then I got better and, I got better equipment. I got a drone, I got wireless mics, you get all the tools and trades, right? You suck and you do stock tip and then you get a fucking New York fat and then you start using Montana and, so it's like you grow. And so anyways, let's just speed this up. it's 2 years later, right? I built a pretty fucking good case to defend myself by myself with ChatGPT. And they dropped the charges, right? Not that it was like a criminal charge. This is a civil lawsuit, but they dropped the case because they don't have anything on me at all, because there was never anything to begin with. These dudes just fucking sued me to hurt me. That's all this was. And that's just wild to me. But anyways, it got dropped. And I was like, holy shit, I'm free. Like, and I cried like a baby, man. It's 2 years of anxiety and nightmares and depression. It fucks with you. And so, I started the YouTube. It ended up growing. I got better at it. And so both things happened in February of this year, 2025. So in February 2025, the lawsuit got dropped, free and clear of it. So I was able to relaunch my current company, leftcoastsigns.com, which, by the way, if you need stickers, I do vinyl, eggshell, and holographic at the moment. I also do decals for vehicles and whatnot, or windows for your business. I got to plug it in, man, because I'm fucking broke and I need money. Anyways, so I'm able to launch my company, which I'm super grateful, and I got helped out by a really close friend, which, you know who you are, dude, and I love you. He really helped me out financially, helping me buy the sticker machine, and it means a lot. You have no idea. Anyways, so the YouTube ends up getting the minimum of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, and I get accepted into the YouTube partnership program. I do one video where I'm kind of trying to do like Harley facts, and it's just like a little, YouTube short, like a reel, and it does really well. And this motorcycle company sees it, and the manager is like, "Hey, I run the affiliate program. I want you on the team. We're gonna give you, we're gonna send you equipment. We're gonna give you an affiliate link. You're gonna get a small percentage of sales." And you're just going to be a brand rep. And I was like, holy shit. And then, so I accepted, of course. And then on top of that, I like to do camping. I do motorcycle camping on my YouTube. And so I just pack my gear very lightly on the back of my sissy bar and my chopper, and I go off into the wilderness and film like an ASMR, no music, just like me building my tent and building my little mini wood stove and cutting my wood and cooking chicken, and it's very it's, I don't know, man. It's cute, and I love it. I really do love motorcycle camping, because while I am editing and videoing and recording all this, it's like when I stop recording, I actually get to just enjoy camping and kick it. And so a couple of those videos did really well, and then another company reached out to me and they gave me a sissy bar bag. They gave me an actual sissy bar. For those that don't know, the sissy bar is the, if you look at a chopper motorcycle and you see a random bar sticking out of the back of the tire, that's what a sissy bar is called. So they gave me parts, they gave me bags, they gave me fucking a side saddle so that I can put stuff on the side of my chopper. They just hooked me up super hard and sponsored me for my motorcycle camping videos. So yeah, man. So I had the bandwidth for the podcast like crazy, because I had nothing going on in my life. So I was able to put all of my, time and resources into this podcast. And as of February, I'm no longer in a lawsuit. I still have my day job. So keep that in mind, that I'm working a 40 plus hour work week at a soul crushing corporate job while I'm supporting Tenshi through college. My mom's health isn't doing so great, so I'm helping her out with some bills, and it's whatever. It's like I gotta take care of the people that I love. So I have my day job from 3 to 6 in the morning, which is soul crushing, but whatever. I gotta keep the lights on. I come home and then I print stickers till about midnight, and then I wake up and do it all over again. And Saturday I go out motorcycle riding and editing, or either I go to a chopper show, or I do camping, or Now I'm interviewing motorcycle builders on my channel because it's starting to grow so much. And I'm getting paid ad revenue. I'm doing affiliate links, and like it's great. I'm truly happy because my normal life away from graffiti is growing and being successful, and I would like to project. You know how it's you should always like focus on goals and stuff like that, and try to have like that goal of what you want to hit. My goal is to full time be a printer Monday through Friday, my own boss at my own company at leftcoastsigns.com, and my weekends be for YouTube. And if I can live solely off of stickers, I still do t-shirt printing too, but I do direct to garment. I don't screen print anymore. But if you need a direct to garment t-shirt, please reach out. One shirt minimum. So if you just need one shirt, I got you. If I could just literally print Monday through Friday, from like 8 to 5, and then just do my YouTube videos on the weekends, I made it, man. I don't need to be rich. If I can just survive and live off of literally my love and passions, that'd be great. And then that would open up more bandwidth for this podcast. Now, let's talk about the struggles of this podcast. Even when I had the time and resources and space and mental health to have this podcast going once a month, you would still see like a drop in a month because, shit would be hectic. But then I would make it up, where one month would have like 2 podcasts. So I'd try to like, whatever. The biggest struggle is getting people on. And how do I explain this without not being a fucking dick about it? When I started this podcast, I was just like, whatever. I just want to have like a cool podcast with people and whatever. And luckily enough, I only had hitters come on. And I was like, whoa, okay, cool. It is, so it went from like, Steiner was the first episode, and that's my best friend. So it was like kind of natural. But then it was like, oh shit, like I got True 54 in here. Oh shit, I got fucking, like Elab and Gezer and fucking, whoa, I got Swerve on here. And I've told this to Swerve. Now we've become good friends. That episode, I think in itself, launched the podcast. And now it was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I got Sino on here because obviously fucking, I did it with Swerve, and then fucking Jace, like he's a legend, like, so the caliber of the podcast has like accelerated. And the growth of the podcast has accelerated, right? I mean, 10,000 listeners per episode at this point in time is a lot. And it's like, dude, that's everyone in the Bay. And this podcast is really only for Bay people, but it has now outpoured into the world. And so everyone in the Bay plus, Europe, Asia, fucking Australia, New Zealand, because they're kind of like their own thing. South America a little bit. Yeah, it's crazy. But like, and I forget what the top 5 were, but I think it was like Canada, Britain, Germany, France, and I forget that. I think it was actually Australia. But dude, when you have, okay, so keep in mind that it's me, dude. It's Mayan. Like, I'm fucking some nerdy fat kid that's like plays PlayStation 5, like I'm not like this fucking like, like, I mean, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, and I'm doing the best of my ability with the knowledge that I have, and I'm trying to like, be in my own little mini success. But at the end of the day, dude, like if you meet me, I'm just like a super chill guy, and I'm like, hey, what's up? There's nothing like, crazy special about me. So like, the podcast has grown, and I want to keep it at that level. So I don't want just anybody on here. I've had some people reach out to me, and I'm just like, dude, you've only been painting for like 2 years. Not to be a hater, but like, dude, keep in mind, I got into graffiti in like 2003. I've seen people come and go, and it's like, you're the hot shit for like a year, and then you never paint for the rest of your life. I don't think that's, I don't want you on my podcast. I'm sorry. And I feel like that comes off cocky, and I'm really sorry, but I just think that, for me to be a graffiti writer And this is my opinion. This is my show, right? This is my creation and my rules. This is my house. A graph writer is someone that's going to do this forever. If you slow down because of life, which I'm a perfect example of, I was doing fucking 10 pieces a weekend, and when I first got into UGS, we were fucking rocking all the time, dude. And it fucking quick color pieces, buff fills, it doesn't matter. We were getting up. Now I do one piece a month, and that's sometimes, but I'm still painting, I'm still tagging, I'm still scribing, I'm still putting up stickers, yeah, I've slowed down in the paint department, but man, fuck y'all, I'm out here. Fuck, where was I going with this? Dude, the train of thought is bad. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the caliber of the podcast has to be a certain thing. I have certain criteria that people have to meet. And so out of that list, out of all the graph writers that are out there, it starts shrinking very quick. And reaching out to all those people is I do it, but I get, and I've said this before again, but I get no's. I just get left on red. I don't know what I would talk about, or I hate my voice, or hey, I listen to your podcast. I really like it. I'm super grateful that you thought about me, but at this time, no. And my podcast isn't, huge, I'm not living proof or I don't remember the title of Dregs because I just think of Dregs' podcast. Because is it just history of the Bay? Because whatever. Dregs' podcast is obviously huge. He's fucking killing it. Good for him, man. He's doing it. I'm not those guys. And so sometimes people will be like, oh, man, thanks for reaching out. Nah. And then they'll go on his podcast. And I'm like, okay. And I'm not hating on Dregs. I don't want anyone to be like, oh, hey, fucking, you hear mine talking about Dregs. Dude, that fool's fucking killing it, man. He has no idea who I am. But, his shit is tight, but he's not that he doesn't write, right? Because he's got pieces all over the Bay Area. But my podcast is a graffiti podcast. His podcast is a history of the Bay. So it's generalized, right? It's just two entirely different realms. I don't think we can compare each other at all. He's doing, producers and rappers. What he does is really well. It's done great. But when you have rappers that want to promote their shit, you can get people to constantly do it. And I'm sure he's grinding really hard to get all these dope ass people on top of doing his music. So, hey, you can come out with shit consistently. My podcast is legitimately for fucking vandals. And that's just truth, right? As much as I joke around and I try to romanticize things and this and that, this is a fucking graffiti podcast, dude. There's nothing sexier than a fucking etch bath on a fucking window. Fuck your life. That's how I really feel, that's when you talk about that and you talk about those kind of people, it's dude, that list gets even smaller. So this is not where I'm not going to interview some random ass people. I'm going to interview fucking dope writers that fucking kill it, that have been killed it, even if they've slowed down, are still killing it, or they had a significant historical impact. That is the prerequisites for my podcast. And so I just don't want to have just anyone on here. So the obstacle is getting people on here. And then sometimes I get 3 yeses and then I'm scheduled out for 3 months, which has happened. And then 3 months down the line, I'm like, hey, dude, so now that I have a full-time job, now that I have full-time sticker printing, and now that I'm doing my YouTube, I can only schedule this date 3 months from now. Can you make that happen in your calendar? And they're like, yeah, for sure. And then that date comes, and then their kid's fucking filling fell out and they got to go to an emergency dentist appointment. It happens, and I'm not going to hold that against that writer. Fuck no. And this isn't a scenario that has actually happened. I'm just giving you an example. But it happens. But now that month is fucked for me because, the next month, I travel for my YouTube. I go to chopper shows all around California, and, I got to schedule, a weekend for me could be $500-$600 because now I got to get hotel, gas. I got to tow my motorcycle. You know, I got to pay for food. I got to pay for the ticket to get in, you know, whatever. How I make that up is by sticker printing. So I can't, you know, pause the production line, you know, because I'm using sticker money to reinvest into the YouTube money to reinvest into the sticker company. You know, it's like a revolving fucking dance, and I'm just pray to God it doesn't break on me. But my schedule is fucked right now, and it's hard to get people on here already when I had all the time in the world. Now that I have no time, I have to be very strict, and some people can't match that for me. And that's all right. You know, it is what it is. But the reality is this fucking podcast has taken a huge fucking hit. And it has now been months that I've come out with nothing. And you guys are hitting me constantly being like, bruh, what is up? And so because I love this podcast so much, because it means so much to me, it's so important, I have to sit here and just be like, bruh, straight up, life is a little hectic right now. It's a little hard with the obstacles. Both combining is kind of shitty. Just be patient. That's it. All right. I've already spoken for 31 fucking minutes. That's too long about my personal shit. But I just want to explain to everyone on here, I love this podcast. It's going to continue. It'll never stop. You know, what is it? Too long didn't read. TLDR. The podcast is awesome. Life is a little hectic. We're going to keep it pushing. So if you've listened this long, right on. Fucking thank you. That's really cool of you. That means you're like a true listener. If you see me painting ever or catch me on the street and whatever, like fucking say what's up, dude. I love interacting with all y'all. I love, you know, fucking when you guys DM me, everyone internationally, you know, right now because I'm supporting family financially. I don't have any funds for traveling, and I have not traveled in a while, and that's its own depressing thing because I'm obsessed with traveling. But you know, once fucking, you know, shit gets a little bit better, trust me, I'm gonna hop back on a plane. You know, fucking nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. That shit's hella stuck in my head right now. Yeah, I'd love to paint with people internationally. I get so many DMs internationally about like, dude, come to our country. And like, fuck, man, I keep sending me that because that motivates me to fucking, maybe I should start creating a little fucking Excel list of like people that have messaged me with fucking their Instagrams to be like, hey, remember when you said 6 months ago that I could fucking paint your spot? I'm gonna hold you to it. Yeah, man, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for not like turning against me. I will keep bringing you episodes. I have spoken to a few people that are, I think, more than worthy of being on this podcast. And it's just a matter of dialing in dates. But it has been a couple months, and I just wanted to update you guys that, like, you know, shit's changed for me. And, you know, that's life. You know, if you're someone that's young, that's like trying to grow and do things and stuff like that, understand that, like, you know, life is going to give you these changes as well. Practice patience, you know, don't I'm trying to always think of like a good way of like incorporating advice to the youth, right? Because that's something for me that like I didn't have as a youth. So I'm trying to be better and be that, you know, that OG to the youngins. But life is going to throw a bunch of different things at you, you know, roll with the punches, understand that, you know, similar to this podcast, similar to graffiti, it's always going to be there. It's never going to go anywhere. Don't, you know, in this Instagram age of like social media, it kind of feels like you're only as good as your last post, right? And if you're not posting, you're not being consistent. People get a lot of social anxiety from not being current. Don't let that affect you, you know, like keep pushing. You know, if you have to keep your head down for 6 months, that's all right. You know, put your head down for 6 months, work through it. Different opportunities will come in life. You know, don't be stagnant and don't wait for something to come because that's stupid as fuck. Be progressive, invest in yourself, love yourself. Genuinely, you know, truly do the mental health work. I had someone recently hit me and they were like, hey, I've heard you talk about therapy on your podcast. I'm really excited, to hear another graph writer to talk about mental health. I've been going through it a lot. Next week, I'm starting therapy for the first time in my life, and I'm actually really excited and looking forward to it. And that fucking, bro, that was like a straight shot to the heart, bro. Like, I was reading that shit with like fucking weepy eyes. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. So, if I can give any, out of all this story that I just talked to you for 35 fucking minutes as I look at the time clock, life is going to throw a bunch of shit at you. That's life. Life is hard. It is very hard, but how you handle it, how you can control it, right? Think of two circles, right? A big circle and a a small circle inside the big circle. The inside circle represents what you can control, which is your actions, your emotions, and how you deal with it. And the outside circle is what you can't control, right? Financial responsibilities, how people act, because you can't control how people act and do what they do and say what they say. If some shit happens in your life, think about what you can control. What you can't control is how you act about it, how you deal with it. You can control your destiny to a certain degree. Shit gets thrown at you, obstacles happen, struggles, it happens. But don't sit there and wait to have someone bail you out, because guess what? It's not going to happen. No one gives a fuck about you but you. And I know that's like really generalized and mean, and I'm not, of course you have your family. Like, I'm sure your mom cares about you. But I'm just saying that, like, everyone has their own struggle. Everyone has their own issues. Everyone's reality is their reality, and it's very real to them. Don't wait for people to bail you out if they don't have the bandwidth to bail you out when they can't bail themselves out. If you got to put your head down for 6 months, as what I was trying to say earlier, do it. But keep an eye open. Open your peripherals up for other opportunities where, it might be scary, but invest in yourself and do a leap of faith for you, because only you can do that. Only you can control that, right? So, like, I was being fucking sued and I was scared shitless and I didn't know what to do and I needed a creative outlet. And, someone had told me fucking try YouTube. And I was like, oh man, what 2 years later, and I'm not successful in YouTube, but I at least have the foundation and the beginning step towards something. Now I'm grateful that I have, an opportunity I have at least the opportunity to make money, and I see money coming in, and I see my analytics and I see it growing and I see my subscriber base growing. And, if I didn't have that conversation with that person, who knows what I would have done. I would have tried to done something, but like, I'm not going to sit here and wait for someone to give me a hand. I'm going to fucking get myself up and get it. And so, yeah, that's just an explanation of all this shit is like, dude, if you're going through it, just fucking push through it, knock it out, be patient, love yourself. If you can get into therapy, do some internal work, mental health is so important. Yeah, I've drag this shit out, but thank you guys for listening, man. Like, I'm gonna keep it going, but like, just understand that I've had to basically put my head down for a couple of months, and when the next episode comes on, it'll come out and I'll tell you guys about it and I'll promote it like crazy. But in the meantime, I love you guys and respect you enough to have this conversation with you today. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to this episode. I will catch you guys on the next episode. All right, peace.
What is this rush thing? What is the rush that you get from it?
The ultimate rush. Nothing can beat it. No drugs, no nothing.
Are you the kind of person who goes up on those signs on the freeway?
Yeah, more than anyone.